とぞサーナイト。
最高のパフォーマンスをお見せしましょう。サーナイトメガ進化。
行くぞ海流。大マークス。
Hey everyone, it's Mark. This is my recap for Pokemon Journeys episode 116, The Champion's Pride, Lance vs. Diantha. This was the 1201st episode of the Pokemon anime, and what felt like the first new episode of Pokemon Journeys in forever. I was really glad to have the anime back this week, and I was also excited to reach this incredible subscriber milestone on YouTube. Nice! Anyways, let's talk about this episode. We pick things up right where we left off, with Lance and Diantha ready to start their battle. The other competitors are watching on, while Ash reveals to Go and Hop that he's actually friends with both of these champions. Wabam-Z is also ready to continue their live coverage, although Jessie is not keen to shower Diantha with praise. She just can't get over that Diantha is a more successful actress than she is. Before the battle actually starts, both champions address their respective regions, and straight off the bat and straight out of nowhere, we get a Ritchie and Sparky cameo, along with Jimmy, Marina, and Jackson making brief appearances. This was a nice little fan service touch, and along with all of those trainers, we got to see these familiar faces all watching together in Kalos cheering for Diantha. Enough pre-match festivities though, let's get this battle started already. The opening matchup is Dragonite vs. Aurorus, and Lance immediately calls for a Hyper Beam. Diantha defends with Light Screen, greatly reducing the damage dealt. In addition, this leaves Dragonite vulnerable, which Diantha takes advantage of by nailing it with Blizzard. Lance comes back with Body Press, a move I had honestly never heard of before, but this fighting type attack lands some massive damage. Lance keeps up the pressure with another Body Press, but this time Diantha sets up Reflect to block it. A big part of this episode is the clash of styles between Lance and Diantha, and it's pretty clear to see already how Lance's all-out offensive assault is being countered by Diantha's more defensive approach. I wondered how Diantha would battle since we had never seen any of her Pokemon other than Gardevoir prior to this episode, but we know that Lance's Dragonite was going to be a tough opponent. A collision between Rockslide and Twister causes both Pokemon to take damage, but Aurorus has taken too many hits from Lance's ace, and Dragonite scores the first KO of the battle, giving Lance the advantage. Lance is feeling good about his position, and he elects to swap out Dragonite before Diantha sends out her next Pokemon, which turns out to be a Gourgeist. This catches the attention of Wabam-Z, who remember Jessie's Gourgeist from back in XY. Seeing the same species of Pokemon that she used to own, Jessie goes from Diantha hater to Diantha stan in no time. While she's fangirling, the red Gyarados enters the fray. Diantha's tricky tactics continue, with Gourgeist using Trick or Treat of all moves. Don't think we've seen that in the anime before, and I thought the animation for this move was hilarious. I loved it. In case you're unfamiliar with this move, Trick or Treat adds the Ghost type to its target, meaning that Gyarados is now a water-flying Ghost type Pokemon. This isn't going to slow Lance down as he charges in with an Aqua Tail. Diantha is feeling good about her Light Screen and Reflect strategy, but Lance is looking forward to them wearing off soon. As Gyarados charges up a Dragon Pulse, Diantha lands a hit first with Shadow Sneak, but this doesn't stop Gyarados from launching its attack, and it lands just as Light Screen wears off, dealing major damage to Gourgeist. Now that Diantha is losing her protective walls, she decides that it's time to start dodging, and calls for Phantom Force in order to get away from an Ice Fang. This works extremely well, with Gourgeist landing another super effective hit on Gyarados, but it is able to keep its composure once again and fire off another Dragon Pulse at the first opportunity. This ends up being Gyarados' last action in the match, as it faints after putting up a good fight. It certainly did not last as long as it did against Leon's Charizard back in episode 12, but that's because of Diantha's tricky tactics. Lance's third Pokemon is Hydreigon, and it's Halloween once again. I guess I should mention that Halloween is the Japanese name for Trick or Treat, and this means that Hydreigon is now Dark, Dragon, and Ghost type. And this doesn't stop it from landing a direct hit with Dark Pulse, which causes Gourgeist to take some super effective damage, and Flinch, which opens the door for Lance to land another Dark Pulse, which knocks Gourgeist out. Lance is fired up and thanks Gyarados for its help in defeating Gourgeist. This means that Diantha is in a pretty bad spot, which is interesting since she said a minute ago that she had a strategy against Hydreigon. I have no clue what that strategy was, but it's not working out very well so far. Let's be honest though, the only strategy that Diantha needs against Lance is her Gardevoir, and her True Ace is ready to go, and they waste no time activating Mega Evolution immediately. Yeah, this Mega Evolved Fairy type is gonna be a problem for Lance. These two special attackers exchange a few moves, but Gardevoir has no sweat combating whatever Hydreigon throws its way. Lance is thrown off by this, and Diantha is in total control now, and she knows it. She calls for a Moonblast, and yeah, Hydreigon is done for. No way it's surviving that, and yep, there you go, it's out of there. Both trainers are down to their last Pokemon now, but you gotta give the edge to Diantha. Her strategy is working. Lance's Dragonite is his last hope, but they still have an ace up their sleeve, Dynamax. It's time for Dragonite to get huge, and Lance is getting all fired up. Diantha, on the other hand, is staying so cool and composed that it almost comes off as smug and cocky. Lance's first max move results in a stalemate between Max Hailstorm and Moonblast, but the added hail seemingly benefits Lance because of Dragonite's increased HP. Lance goes for Max Strike next, hitting Gardevoir head-on with the additional effect of lowering its speed. Diantha attempts to counter with Shadow Ball, but Lance blocks it entirely with Max Wormwind, which also lowers Gardevoir's attack? Yeah, I don't know if I love Lance's Dynamax strategy here, but Diantha is clearly enjoying the way things are going. Now that Dragonite's Dynamax is worn off, it's time for Lance's last shot, and he calls for an almighty Hyper Beam, and this thing is packing heat. Unfortunately for Lance, this is when Diantha calls checkmate as Gardevoir leaps out of the way, readies another Moonblast, and yeah, Lance knows he's finished. Like, Dragonite is a sitting duck at this point, having to recharge after using Hyper Beam, and this gives Mega Gardevoir that extra little time to make sure this Moonblast is going to land head on. They really draw this scene out as the battle reaches its conclusion. Diantha's win is assured at this point as Lance and Dragonite are totally helpless. After the smoke clears, the hail wears off, and the battle is over. Diantha is declared the winner, and all Lance can do is thank his Pokemon for a fantastic battle. The two competitors share a moment together, with Lance praising Diantha's performance. The tone of the episode shifts from tense and dramatic to happy and celebratory, as Ash is glad to have witnessed such a great battle, with Hop saying that Diantha won't win against Leon in the next round. Steven makes the observation that Diantha's battles change with the Pokemon she uses, perhaps hinting at a change in strategy for her semifinals matchup against Leon. Somehow, WBAMZ are getting an interview with Diantha moments after the battle, not sure if they have the press credentials for that. Jessie gets her point across to Diantha that she should win with Gourgeist next time. Not sure if Diantha is loving that tip, but alright. As for Lance, he meets up with Ash in the hallway. Lance is clearly perturbed by his loss, but he tells Ash to hang in there. That's about all the advice he can come up with in a tournament as difficult as this one. Lance heads off back to the locker room, and Ash meets up with Iris before her battle. Their interaction here goes exactly how you would expect it to, and I am just as fired up as Iris is to see her battle against Cynthia. I know I'm cheering hard for Iris in this one, but she's got a tough task ahead of her. The episode ends with Cynthia and Iris taking to the battlefield. They send out their first Pokemon, with Cynthia choosing her Gastrodon and Iris sending out Excadrill. And back in the stands, Ash and Pikachu are excited to see an old friend for the first time in a while. With that, the stage is set, and next up is the biggest battle of Iris's life. Another great episode in my opinion. I was ready to come in straight away with a 9 out of 10 rating, but I think I was just a little overexcited to finally have a new episode of the anime after that 2-week break. Overall, I think this episode was really designed to be an introduction to what the battles in the Masters Tournament are going to be like. I really wish this would have been the first battle that we saw, since I think Leon vs. Alon got things off on the wrong foot. Lance vs. Diantha may not go down as an all-time classic, but it was a dramatic clash between two champions, both of them using their own unique strategies and showing off their Pokemon's strengths. It was far from a perfect battle, but I think it really set the tone for the rest of the Masters Tournament. I know that some people are kind of underwhelmed by this battle. I know there was a lot of discussion over in my Discord server about the animation for this battle. I think I've said enough times that I don't really care that much about the animation. It always looks good in my eyes. I especially like the way they showed off Light Screen and Reflect. I thought the way Light Screen dispelled Lance's Hyper Beam was maybe my favorite adaptation of Light Screen in the history of the anime. This battle had the tough task of having the least amount of story going into it. Like, there is no previously established connection between Lance and Diantha, and I just think fans probably had the least amount of emotional investment in this match compared to the other 3 first-round battles. With that said, I know a lot of people really wanted Lance to win because they like him as a character. I mean, I guess that's a good thing if this battle made people feel something. Like, if we were gonna compare the Masters Tournament to a real-life sporting event, there's gonna be winners and losers, and not every result is gonna go the way you want it to. Me personally, this battle went basically exactly how I wanted it to go, and basically exactly how I thought it would go as well. I mean, in my predictions video, I literally said that it would come down to Mega Gardevoir versus Dynamax Dragonite, and that Mega Gardevoir was going to be the key to Diantha's victory. Yeah, pretty much a spot-on prediction. Not sure my prediction of Iris defeating Cynthia is going to pan out the same way, but hey, I can dream, can't I? In addition, I think Diantha looking strong here was really important because whoever won this battle has to pose some kind of threat to Leon in the next round, and this episode did a good job of making Diantha seem like she has a chance of taking down Leon. I mean, she doesn't. Diantha has no shot shot of actually winning, but at least it will be a close battle. Alright, let's get into my rating for this episode. I've said a lot of positive things so far, so I'm guessing it won't come as too much of a surprise to hear that I'm giving this episode an 8.5 out of 10 rating. This was a really strong episode, from the surprise cameos at the start, which were awesome to see, to the way the ending of the episode got everyone super excited for what was to come. I thought this episode accomplished basically everything it set out to do. Of course, being a battle-focused episode, my rating is largely going to come down to how good the battle was, and although I enjoyed Lance vs. Diantha a lot, it had its flaws. It seemed like neither trainer really bothered trying to dodge most attacks, which was a little strange. Like, I get how Dragonite couldn't move after using Hyper Beam, and I guess Diantha wanted to just let Light Screen and Reflect tank hits, but still, it felt kind of odd having almost every attack land directly. Thankfully, Gardevoir was still able to dodge Lance's final Hyper Beam. I would have been really upset if it hadn't, because Diantha's Gardevoir was pretty easily able to dodge Ash's Greninja's attacks back in XY, and the agility and speed it showed in that battle would have made it kind of ridiculous had it just taken this Hyper Beam head on. Fortunately, that's not what happened, and I love Diantha's checkmate line. This actually comes straight from her game dialogue, and it was so fitting with her confident demeanor that she held throughout this episode. Really great stuff. Last thing I want to note for this episode was that it was kind of strange to me how obsessive Jessie was over Diantha's Gourgeist. Like, sure, the references to Jessie's Gourgeist are cool and all, but it just seemed odd to me that Jessie was suddenly a super fan of all Gourgeist. Anyways, that's not a very big deal, so let's just talk about the next episode, and what else is there really for me to say about Iris versus Cynthia? I'm just repeating myself when I say that this is the battle I am most looking forward to out of the entire first round, and I really hope Iris wins. Do I think that will happen? Not really, but this does look like it'll be a down-to-the-wire showdown that should be an excellent battle. I'd love to hear your predictions down in the comments, as well as your thoughts about this episode as well. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.